Martinez, and I want to welcome you to my kitchen. Today we're going to make the festive traditional food of Puerto Rico, pasteles. Delicious. And we're also going to make Cuban roast pork sandwiches, Cubanos.
Daisy Cooks is brought to you by
As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. Marshall's. Brand names for less.
All-Clad Metal Crafters. All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind. Brillo with Oxy Action. For tough messes, Oxy Micro Bubbles lift and dissolve grease and grime. Brillo, cleaning solutions for your home for over 90 years. Diageo. As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. And if you drink, drink responsibly. Diageo, celebrating life every day responsibly.
If you were to ask me, what is the one Puerto Rican dish that is unique to Puerto Rico, that says Puerto Rico, I would tell you it's pasteles. In all of Latin America, the word pastel means cake. In Puerto Rico, it means celebration. Pastel is a dish of pork embedded in a batter made of ground root vegetables that is wrapped in banana leaf, then wrapped in parchment paper, tied up and boiled. And you have it at Christmas, you have it at Thanksgiving, you have it at New Year's, you have it whenever there's a huge, huge celebration. And when you make pasteles, at least in my house, it was a very, very family-centric ordeal. And I'm going to show you how to make pasteles today. So I have a piece of nice pork butt right here, nice marbled piece of pork butt. And you can see that I'm cutting it in little pieces. And that's usually the first thing that we start. Pasteles are like a Mexican tamal, which is meat and batter wrapped in banana leaf. Tamales are made with cornmeal. Puerto Rico is unique in that we are the only ones that do not use cornmeal to make this dish. When you go to visit anybody's house for the holidays, especially around Christmas, somebody will pull out their pasteles. Now, there was like an ongoing little rivalry between my mother, who makes excellent pasteles. My mother's pasteles are really very, very good, and she prides herself. My mother's sister, Maria, makes the most incredible pasteles in the world. My father would always say, "Oh, Maria's pasteles," and my mother would kind of bristle, you know. But let's make some achote oil. These are called achote seeds, also known as annatto seeds. We use them in Latin American cooking instead of saffron. It gives your food that beautiful yellow-orange color, and it adds a distinct flavor, a nuttiness that is missing in saffron. I have some olive oil. And because we're going to treat this with gentle heat, it doesn't bother me to use olive oil. We're going to wait for this just to get a little heat, and it's going to give me insane color. And once you see the achote oil start to bubble, we're going to lower that heat. Now, as simple as achote oil is to make, you just can't put it on the stove and forget about it. If the achote seeds are allowed to burn, you will end up with black seeds, green oil, and what's left is good for nothing but the garbage can. So let's just watch this. Okay, it's starting to get happy. You see it's starting to get fuzzy and foamy over here? That's what we're looking for. I'm going to lower the heat on this now so we can watch the color. And I'm going to pour you a sunset in a bowl. So there we have it, achote oil. And this is one of those life-changing ingredients that you can keep in your fridge and impress all your friends and neighbors. I'm going to take the pork and put it in my pot. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of achote oil. And Mommy would say, enough achote oil so that it doesn't look pale. So enough to make it pretty, right, Ma? I'm going to add culantro, that cilantro times 10, and tuck in a bay leaf. And then I have a little bouquet of cilantro that I'm going to put in there for flavor. I'm tying the cilantro together because we're going to add water to this. I want it to be easy for me to take the cilantro out. Salt, a little pepper. And I have my water. Let's add some sofrito to that. Sofrito is an aromatic puree of onions, garlic, tomatoes, sweet red bell peppers, green peppers, ajicitos dulces if you can find them, cilantro, and culantro. Or if you can't find culantro, you could use more cilantro. I'm going to give this some heat, high at first to bring it to the boil quickly. Then I'll lower the heat, simmering and skimming for about 1 hour, and then our pork for the pasteles will be done. Okay, while we bring the pork up to heat, to the boil, I've taken the liberty of roasting off this big pork bone. And if you don't have one of these, you can ask your butcher to save bones for you. They're usually happy to oblige. So I roasted it off till it got nice and brown, and then I threw it in my pot here with an onion and a bay leaf and about a teaspoon of peppercorns. And I'm going to make a nice pork stock that I'm going to use to help flavor my batter for the pasteles. This is my mother's way of making pasteles. Everybody's mother has their own way of making pasteles. You can use chicken broth, you can use beef broth, you can use whatever kind of broth you want. Tweak it a little bit and make it your own. It's been on for about 20 minutes. I'm going to give it another hour, so both things should come up together, and then we'll start putting pasteles together. So it's been a little over an hour, about an hour and 15, that I've had my pork simmering, and I've been skimming it and keeping it nice and clean, and it's just about ready. So now that the pork is done, I'm going to move over here and start working on my masa, the batter for the pastel. I'm going to call in my big guns, my son Eric, to help me with a little muscle. Hello, handsome.
Hello, beautiful.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm going to need you to grate these viandas for me. Can you do that?
Okay, sure.
And we're making pasteles, so the sooner you get this done, the sooner you eat.
Excellent.
There you go. Okay, so I have the calabaza, which makes the pastel nice and soft, according to my mother. Calabaza is the pumpkin that we find down in Puerto Rico and around the Caribbean. You can interchange it with something like butternut or acorn squash. What I have over here is a jautilla, and I'm going to peel that. Jautilla is a root vegetable that you find all over the Caribbean. You won't see this in Spain, but you will see it in Central America and South America in the cooking. You can boil this and eat it like a potato. Pretty much anything you could do with a potato, you could do with a jautilla. And you know what? I think I'll have this jautilla done before you finish that calabaza.
Chances are good.
And I'm just going to leave this here for you. It's waiting.
Thank you.
I have a potato, your regular generic potato, and that's going to go into the masa. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Need any help?
No.
Okay, so I'm leaving this potato here.
Next to the yatilla. I got it.
And then I'm going to do the plátano. You take the top and the tail off. With the edge of your knife, you just score it down the back. And then you work the skin off the plantain with the tip of your knife. Run your thumb underneath, and the skin comes off. Okay, so here it is, Eric. It's all waiting for you.
Appreciate it.
And then the green bananas. Now the green bananas are really the base of the masa. It's what we grate most of. Take the tips off the green banana, just like I did the plantains. You treat them pretty much the same way. Score it right down the back, push the side up with the edge of your knife, and then just run your thumb right down and push the skin away. And again, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that as much as they look similar, they're very different animals. Like a plantain, green bananas will go through different stages of maturation. The difference being that this will end up on your breakfast table, and unless you're frying maduros for breakfast, a plantain will not. I'll help you now, okay? Pass me the other guayo. Here's where I show my big, tough son who his mommy is. It doesn't look very good yet, does it?
Not yet.
But it's something to look forward, right?
Oh, man.
Eric can polish off and often does when my mother makes them, when my mom makes them. How many pasteles can you eat at a sitting?
Oh, 4.
Really? I didn't think that many. I thought maybe 2.
No, I could put down 4.
With or without arroz?
No, no rice.
You know what, Eric? Why don't you start mixing that together while I get a few more green bananas going? Guys, I know that this looks very, very strange, but trust me when I tell you, pasteles are something that we are insanely, insanely proud of. And within family to family, there's like a little rivalry and competition about who makes the best pasteles. Now, you're always bringing boys to the house.
And girls.
Well, yes.
I'm always bringing people to the
You're
house.
always bringing people to the house. Has anybody ever said, like maybe Sam or Jesse or somebody,
My
do
friends,
they like pasteles?
I used to believe that my friends came to my house to see me.
Uh-huh.
And then I came to grips with the fact that my friends come to my house to eat my mother's food. And there's just no way around it.
They come to see you.
Okay.
We're almost done here. And the color of your pasteles can vary depending on how much calabaza you put in, you know, the different viandas, with green bananas being the big part of the whole thing. The other viandas are like add-ins into the grated green banana. I see you've adopted Mama's method for mixing your masa.
Patented one-handed masa mixing technique.
I hope she's watching. Put your elbow in that, boy.
Yes,
I'm gonna add some salt. And I'm going to add pork stock. About a cup, and you know, it's for flavor. I have some achote oil here. My mom would say, a mí no me gustan los pasteles hincho. I don't like pale pasteles. That looks good. And over here I have some milk, just about to come to the boil. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that. So that was a cup of milk to this amount of masa. So what do you think? This is the right color?
Perfect.
It looks really good, right? Mm-hmm. That is the seasoning part of the pasteles, and now we're going to get set up for the actual making of the pasteles. You want to put them together or tie them?
I'll tie.
Okay. This is a banana leaf. It smells green and fresh. You can find these in sheets in the frozen food section. So let's get to it. I'm just painting a little achote oil on this banana leaf, which is sitting on parchment, and it's going to give the pastel a really great flavor. I'm going to add a little bit of the alcaparrado and some meat. Banana leaves really do impart a special flavor to the pastel, don't you think?
Absolutely, they're delicious.
And we're just going to tuck a hot pepper in right there. And then I'm going to pick up the ends of the parchment paper, and I'm going to start folding down. We'll have to make enough for David and Angela as well. Okay? Squeeze in the masa so it's all together. Fold twice and bring this over. Fold twice and bring this over. Can you tie this for me?
Absolutely.
And so we'll do that again. When I was first married, I invited my husband to my home to eat, and my mother had made pasteles. My mom says, Jerry, would you like to try a pastel? And Jerry, of course, you know, is like, oh, yes, sure, I would love to have a pastel. What she doesn't tell him is that she snuck this hot pepper in the bottom end of the pastel. She sees him eating, and she's standing, kind of just like standing, waiting for it to happen. And when it did, all the fire alarms went off, and there was smoke coming out of my husband's ears. She thought it was absolutely hysterical.
Welcome to the family.
Welcome to the family, exactly. That's a good job.
Thank you.
The achote oil helps keep the pastel from sticking to the banana leaf. Funny how nobody's around when we're making them, but
Oh, they'll show up once they're ready.
Yeah. So again, okay, once, twice, and there's this, and then squeezing, squeezing, folding, folding, and there she goes. Over to your capable hands. Should I put the first batch in, do you think?
Yes, you should put them in.
It'll be just in time for them to get home. Usually pasteles take about an hour to cook in boiling salted water. In like 15 minutes, this is gonna start smelling like pasteles.
One of my favorite smells in the world.
Okay, and I'll cover this. It smells like pasteles in here.
It sure does.
You want to check on the arroz? We made arroz con gandules, rice with pigeon peas, during the hour that the pasteles were cooking. Wow.
Oh, that came out beautifully.
Gorgeous. You want to give that a little...
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Look at that. You want to serve a little bit?
Sure.
We'll start doing the pasteles. Okay, these look really good.
The one with the extra knot on it is the one without the hot pepper.
This one?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, Dave, Ange.
Hi.
Hi. Just in time. Guess what we did? We made pasteles. Not too
Great.
shabby, huh?
My mom would be proud.
Did you hear that, Ma? Eric made this one special for Angela with no peppers.
Wow.
You're all excited. These are the first pasteles I've ever made without my mother. I'm very excited about this. I hope you're watching, Ma. Although now what she'll do is she'll make me make them all the time. Right?
Yeah, you might have shot yourself in the foot with this. So these are basically ready to go right out of the pot, right?
Right out of the pot. And then the rest that we made, we can freeze. You know I like to keep them in the freezer for like emergencies or special occasions.
How long do they keep?
You can keep them in a freezer for like a couple of months.
Mom, these are delicious.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're
Do they taste
great.
like Mama's?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? They're soft. They're not
Yeah.
hard.
Yep.
Hard pasteles are no good. These are delicious.
Can I taste
They're
them?
tasty. They're well seasoned. You get the brine of the olive, the sweetness of the pork, and the pork stock that we put in the masa. Isn't that amazing?
I call this a hit.
I showed you how to make them. Get a couple of your friends or your family in the kitchen. You can make an afternoon out of it, and then you can all sit down and enjoy a delicious Puerto Rican traditional pastel. So what do you think?
Oh my God.
They're good. Great. They're really, really good.
I got an oh my God, a really, really good, and they're great.
You can celebrate. It's okay.
I'm so happy. Oh, my first pastel is my maiden voyage alone, and it's a smash. Buen provecho.
Buen
Buen
provecho.
Cubanos, Cuban sandwiches, my favorite sandwich in the whole world. I'm gonna teach you how to make Cubanos today, and I'm positive, without a shadow of a doubt, that it's going to become your favorite sandwich too. I have some Italian bread. And you can use generic Italian bread, or if you have another special loaf that you prefer, sourdough or anything like that, go ahead and do that. Traditionally, this is made with Cuban bread, which you probably won't be able to find, but Italian bread works beautifully. I'm gonna spread my sandwich with some mayonnaise. My nephews, Gabriel and Luke, I make Cubanos and they magically appear. It's like they're hiding under the porch. And that's okay, because I like to make them for them. I have here some Swiss cheese. I'm just gonna tuck in the ends of the Swiss cheese, which is kind of nice because it just like makes the whole sandwich cheesier. I like my Cubanos nice and cheesy. You'll hear me daisify any number of recipes, but this is your standard Cubano. If you go into a restaurant and ask for a Cubano sandwich, this is what you'll get. Mayo, Swiss cheese, you got your deli ham, your roast pork, and then pickles. What could be bad, right? And I have some beautiful roast pork here. When I make roast pork in my house, I always make enough so that I know that I'll have enough left over so I can make Cuban sandwiches, Cubanos, the next day. Christmas Day lunch will be Cubanos. Or in the summer, when I make a roast pork for dinner, the next day we have Cubano heroes for dinner with a nice cold beer. Delish. I love these new pickles that you can get that are sliced lengthwise. I used to use the little chips, you know, before, but these make it so much fun. I mean, they're nice and they're just long and thin, and these are bread and butter pickles. If you don't like bread and butter pickles, if you like dill pickles or whatever, pick your poison, the pickle of your choice. If you want to add more cheese, this would be the place to do it so that the bread kind of like sticks to the whole thing. I'm going to cut this sandwich in two so that I can fit it on my baking sheet here. It's going to be easier to roll. You can do that or not, whatever your preference is. Okay? I have my foil. A loaf like this is a sandwich in my house. I've told you I have, God bless them, very hungry boys in my home, and so they'll eat a hero that size. Make a nice tight, there you go. Now, when you go to a fonda or a restaurant, you'll find that they have these big panini presses, and they lower this big press down on the Cubano. But as fabulous as my kitchen is, I don't have one of those. I like to think that necessity is the mother of invention. Here's what I did. Okay, I have them on my baking tray. I'm gonna take these over to the oven right now. And I have a nice, hot, 350-degree oven. I'm going to set my Cubanos in there, just like that. And then I'm gonna come over here. I'm going to set another baking sheet on top of it. And then I'm gonna weigh the whole thing down with my trusty iron skillet. There you go, okay? Tuck that in. 20 to 30 minutes. I want them to get nice and hot and the bread to get nice and crusty and the cheese to just like melt. Whew. Somebody get me a beer. I'm having me a slamage. It's been 30 minutes. I'm going to move this first. And then I'm going to do this because you don't want to forget that this pan was in a hot oven. And that's happened to me a number of times. If you leave the towel on the handle, you won't run that risk. It's like a little note to self. Okay, well, my mouth is watering already, and I haven't even started unwrapping the sandwich. It's a pretty good sign, don't you think? Let's see, what do we got here? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. All the cheese is melting. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. And I told you that my boys can go through one of these, but I'm afraid I can't do that. So I'm gonna cut off a piece. Look at this. The cheese is nice and runny. The pork is still nice and moist. Oh my goodness. Mmm. This is amazing. Mmm. Mmm. Ham and cheese who? You need Cubanos on your menu. Get yourself a Cubano on your table in your house yesterday. Not today, yesterday. Buen provecho.
Daisy Cooks, Latin flavors that will rock your world, contains over 200 of her detailed recipes. With each order, you also get a Daisy Cooks DVD at no additional cost. It includes the never broadcast Daisy Pilot and 3 favorite shows. To order, call 800-336-1917. The price is $29.95. You can also order the Daisy Cooks book with free DVD at her website, daisycooks.com.
Hola, it's Daisy. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at daisycooks.com. Tell me what you think. Sign up for my newsletter and get recipes and tips in English and Spanish. It's all at daisycooks.com.
Daisy Cooks is brought to you by
As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. Marshalls. Brand names for less.
All-Clad Metal Crafters. All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind. Brillo with Oxy Action. For tough messes, Oxy micro bubbles lift and dissolve grease and grime. Brillo, cleaning solutions for your home for over 90 years. Diageo. As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. And if you drink,
Drink responsibly. Diageo, celebrating life every day responsibly.